Hey guys, welcome back. Bolt Spider here. Today we're going to be looking at the undefeated deck profile that I got first place with at my world premiere for Infinite Forbidden, being Memento. This is my second time playing the deck in real life, and it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot last night when I was testing the deck without the new Infinite Forbidden cards, but post new support, this deck is really strong, and it can make a lot of decks struggle. So let's get into it and let's talk about the list. So I was on 40 some cards. Definitely, I went undefeated with the deck, and it is 40 cards exact. So let's get into it and let's talk about it. First off, we have Memento Darkblade, your main starter for the deck, because if it's normal or special summoned, you could discard a Memento monster, target a spell or trap card on your opponent's field, destroy it. But you're not going to use that much, so let's look at the other effect being, you can destroy one, or during your main phase, you can destroy one Memento monster you control, special summon a level 3 or lower Memento monster from your deck. And this is where you're going to be summoning out stuff like Memento and Witch, which is another card that we'll get into in a little bit. Next up, we have Triple Tatenoto Shigo. This card is a wonderful card, being able to special summon it if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are Memento monsters. And you can destroy one Memento you control, send up to 3 Memento monsters equal or up to the level of that monster. So let's say if we destroy Tatenoto Shigo, we could send up to 3 that can be up to level 5, which is really good because you're going to be sending stuff like your Key Mace, Goblin, and Gatic. So after that, I tested this out, and it worked out quite well. 2 of the Memento and Witch. This card is relatively good because when it is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Memento monster from your deck to your hand, except a Memento and Witch. And then you can target 1 level 2 or lower Memento monster that is in your graveyard, destroy 1 Memento monster you control, and then special summon the targeted monster, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So you're most likely going to be searching out Tatenoto Shigo or whatever piece you're missing, and then you are able to target things like your Memento Mace or Goblin or even Gatic in the graveyard to summon it back. After that, let's get into the one of 4 Mementos. We have the Horned Dragon. This card allows you to, if you have 3 or more Memento monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can target 3 cards on the field, including a Memento card, and destroy them. So it is an Icarus attack, which, in my opinion, is really nice. Then we have the brand new Mementilin Sleepy. This card is, if a card is destroyed in your possession, quick effect, you can, well, it is this turn as well, which, if during the turn, a monster in your possession is destroyed by a card effect. Quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can fusion summon, using monsters from your hand and field to fusion summon 1 Memento fusion monster from your extra deck. And if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send 1 Memento card from your deck to your graveyard. That destruction effect barely comes up, but it can come up nonetheless. Then we have Memento Gatic. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target 1 Memento card in your graveyard, except another copy of itself, and add it, or accept itself, and add it to your hand. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by a Memento monster effect, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. So it is your card that reborns, which is very nice, and I really do enjoy it. After that, we have the 1 Memento Key Mace. This is a quick effect, change of heart, if you control Combined Creation. And on top of that, you can destroy a Memento you control to add a Memento card from your deck to your hand, so this is one of the ones that is very important, and I might bump it up to 2. After that, we have the 1 Goblin. If you control the Combined Creation here, you can discard this card, and this turn, your opponent cannot target Memento monsters you control with card effects, which is very good. And during your main phase, you can destroy 1 Memento monster you control, and if you do, you can send up to 2 Memento cards from your deck to your graveyard, which in my opinion, is really, really good. And they have to have different names. So you're sending your spells or traps to the grave. You could send other pieces that you're missing, like Combined Creation with probably a Fusion or a Backbone, which I really do enjoy. And after that, let's get into the spell cards. We have Memento McClellan. It is your field spell, and Memento, or if your Memento monster battles your opponent's monster, if a Memento monster battles, I should say, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap card effects until the end of the damage step. So it definitely shuts off a lot of your interaction, which is really good, but it doesn't shut off monster interactions, which is fine. If a monsters you control is destroyed by a card effect, you can target one of them. Special summon a Memento monster from your graveyard. And it has to have a lower level from your hand or graveyard. So let's say one thing that happened today, I had to destroy something like an Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler with one of my cards, and I got to trigger this. So you destroy the Ash Blossom, you can summon a level 2 or lower from your hand or graveyard, which really, really is nice. After that, we have 3 of the Memento Bone Party. This is just an emergency teleport like card, destroying a Memento monster from your hand or field. And it has to be face up. And you get to summon out a Memento monster with a different name from your deck, which is really nice with Witch, because you get to activate the effect. If they have Impermanent Veiler, you can just drop the Bone Party and get out another name, and searching out something like a Sleepy or a Tatsuno Toshigo, depending on which way you want to go. After that, this is the card that you could destroy Ash Blossom with, being Memento Fusion. This is your fusion spell from the deck using hand and field, but if a monster you control was destroyed this turn, you can actually shuffle Memento monsters from your graveyard back into the deck, which is really good just to be able to use materials from the graveyard. And honestly, this being a fusion is definitely a rob. And you could banish it from your graveyard, destroy a monster you control, add a Memento spell or trap card from your deck. And honestly, I feel like that this should have been a super 100% because of how good it is. And finally, for the last card, we have 1 Cranium Burst. This card is while you control your Combined Creation, or while you control a Memento monster, your opponent monsters can only attack the Memento monster with the highest attack. And if you have a Combined Creation, your opponent activates a monster effect on the field. You can target the Combined Creation, lower its attack by 1,000 and defense by 1,000, and negate that monster's effect. So if they summon something like, if it's a mirror match, they go summon out Witch, use the effect, you can chain this, targeting your Combined Creation, making it lose 1,000 attack and defense to negate that effect. Being able to negate monster effects on the field is really good once per chain, and it could definitely stack up with 5 monster negates from the field. After that, let's get into the staples. We have triple Ash Blossom Joy Spring. This card is really good, always will be, no matter what, and I really do enjoy it. 3 Dark Ruler No More. Since we're going into a board breaker format, this card is really great, and I don't mind giving them a turn, because if you're already set up with the Combined Creation, Combined Conquer play, your opponent will have a hard time trying to out it, because you can destroy up to 2, you can have the Cranium Burst with 5 monster negates that are on the field, plus things like Memento Fusion, so you can definitely do quite a bit. After that, we have 3 Crossout Designator. This card is really, really good, and honestly, I really do like it. I crossed out today. It was really fun. I crossed out quite a bit today, overall. And now for the 1-ups that I run for Crossout, being Veiler, Droll, and Nibiru. Nibiru came up a couple times. Droll came up a couple times too, and Effect Veiler came up as well. Droll against Runic, Nibiru against stuff like your combo decks, like your Sprite, and even Infernal Knight that I went against. And then we have the spell staples, being 2 talents, really powerful card, still think it should be limited. We have 1 Called by the Grave, which in my opinion is really, really good still. And then we have the 3 Infinite Impermanence. Now, one of the things that I do want to highlight, Spell Card Monster Reborn is just another type of Call by the Grave where you can target a monster in either graveyard, special summon to your field, and neither player can activate the effects of that monster until the end of neither. It actually just says neither player can activate its effects for the rest of the turn, which is really, really nice. And that wraps up the main deck. It's a full 40 card main deck, and let's get into the extra deck now. Most of it didn't matter. The only ones that mattered were things like the Memento fusions and SP. So first off, we have 2 of the Combined Conqueror. This card is really, really good. If it's in the graveyard, you can banish this card, and then you get to search out your field spell, which already is a bonus. If this card is fusion summoned, you can send up to 3 Memento cards from your deck and extra deck to the graveyard, which is really insane because you can send another copy of this, you can send this, Cranium Burst, and another card, so you have your full combo right there instantly just for monster negates, and you can target up to the number of Memento monsters on your field and the same number of cards your opponent controls, destroy them. So targeting destruction is really good, especially with this, and it's a really scary card. After that, we have 2 Memento Twin Dragon. This card definitely is another custom card because if it's fusion summon, you can destroy a Memento monster you control. Add 2 Memento monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. And if this card is destroyed, you can special summon a level 6 or lower Memento monster from your graveyard. And that definitely caters with things like Gatic, and it can cater with your Sleepy. After that, for the final fusion, we have 1 Guardian Chimera. Never came up, but there was an opportunity that I could, but Conqueror is just better because it does way more. XEs, we're only running 1 for the Typhon, which, honestly, if you don't run Typhon, that's fine. In my opinion, it is a staple to the extra deck, and it's a must run. After that, we have the 1 Anima, because you always want your opponent to keep guessing on what you have. You can link away Goblin and Mace for it, which, in my opinion, is really good. And people still are ignorant to the card. We have the 1 Moon Maiden, just in case, if we need it. It is also a spellcaster, so we can use it with a link too. So we can go up into Selene, because the other links we have are IP Masquerena, because you could do that. SP Little Knight, just another staple. Dark the Dark Charmer, Gloomy, this is a really good card, and it could come up. I really want to play Asa as well, because we run tons of Earths too. We have 1 Haggard Lizard Dose. This card is really good because it came up when I was testing yesterday, where you can, if you have a Nibiru plus another monster, and you have a Tatsuno Toshigo in your hand, it cannot be summoned, so you link those 2 away to summon this, use the effect to banish it, you target a monster, and it becomes an 800 attack, and you draw 1 because you banished a reptile. We also have the 1 Selene for our spellcasters. We have 1 Access Code because Access Code is just a good card. And finally, the 1 Appaloosa Bow the Goddess for wrapping up the whole entire extra deck. And it's just a relatively, you can play what you want. In my opinion, the ones that you do want to have are your Combined Creation, your Dragon, and SP, along with probably something like the Anima. So realistically, the rest, you can run Pot of Prosperity if you really want, because you really don't care about the extra deck outside of your fusion. And finally, for the extra deck, it's an interesting extra deck because I was expecting more competitive players to be there, but there was only a couple. So I run 3 Bastiles. The 3 Bastiles that a lot of people run, the 1 Druid, Baldrake, and Magnamut, because Magnamut's just another copy of these 2. Druid's Worm is the best Bastile, and Baldrake is just a really good card. Then after that, we have a lot of back row hate, being Cosmic Cyclone, because this is still a really good card into the meta against things like Snake Eye, and even against Yubel, you can use it. We also have the 2 Lightning Storm and the 1 Feather Duster, because you never know when you're going to need it. And honestly, these did come up here and there, especially Feather Duster against Runic. After that, we're going to be talking about Evenly Matched in the side deck, because I main Dark Ruler No More, and this card definitely clears out boards, and you can just build a board in main phase 2 and just don't care about anything. And finally, we have the win card, the auto win against a lot of decks, being D-Barrier. You can call Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, it doesn't really matter. And most decks just fold to it, which is really sad. But realistically, it's still a very powerful card, and that was the list. I hope you guys did enjoy this deck profile on the Memento deck, because I had a lot of fun playing it, and that's all that really matters in Yu-Gi-Oh! As long as you have fun, you are gonna be fine for most of it. But if you're not having fun, you always venture out and play different type of decks like I do. One week I went to Pearly, another week I played something like Mermail Atlantean, just for fun as I waited for this set to come out. And now I'm on Memento. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. It was a lot of fun playing this deck, and I might stick with it for a little bit like I normally do, 2 to 3 weeks per deck. But I hope you all have a wonderful day. I've been Bolt Spider, and see you all in the next video.